I guess you have to soul search yourself, but I don't do it intentionally or haven't done it intentionally. Um, you can start thinking, they don't hear me, they don't care, they keep missing my point. Why do I always have to explain myself? Why do I feel emotionally alone, even in this relationship? And when those feelings build up over time, emotional escalation happens. Now, we don't always, I mean, emotional escalation doesn't always happen, but um, someone is trying to create drama, is what we think. But is that your rational side thinking, or is it the irrational side thinking? We'll get more into that. But because they're trying to desperately feel seen, sometimes anger is actually hurt that lost patience. Listen to that. When you're trying to be heard and you're not feeling like you're being heard, sometimes anger is actually hurt that has lost patience. Sometimes correction is fear. Sometimes defensiveness is shame or even guilt. Sometimes shutdown is emotional overwhelm. And when I think about the emotional overwhelm piece, that just means that you lack the ability to self regulate the emotions that come from the guilt or shame, or even the fear, etc. Right? That's why we get defensive. And sometimes the real cry underneath the conflict is, please understand my heart. I remember a conversation I had with my mom recently. Well, not recently, it was sometime last year. And we got upset about something. And I had to use that word. I had to use that word. A lot of times we say, it wasn't my intention. But oftentimes when we say intention, that kind of triggers people and and then they shut down even more. But what I had to tell my mom is that wasn't my heart. Please understand that wasn't my heart. And so um, that got a different response from her because she actually felt like I understood it, that I wasn't being malicious, basically, right? So I think sometimes wording makes a difference, and we'll talk more about that too. Right now, we're going to go into validation versus explanation. Ooh, let me say it again. Validation versus explanation. This is where many couples, struggle because people often confuse validation with agreement. But validation is not saying you're right and I'm wrong. Validation says, I can understand why you feel the way you feel. That's different, right? Sometimes a person is trying to explain their intentions, but the timing is wrong. Because when someone is emotionally hurting, explanations can feel like dismissals. For example, I didn't mean it like that. You took it the wrong way. That's not what I was saying. You're misunderstanding me. Now, technically, those statements may even be true, but emotionally, the person may hear your feelings are invalid. And this is why emotional empathy matters before clarification.
Visit simply_Mrs. Moody on YouTube for the full podcast.